Welcome to a bonus episode of Uncanny X-Minutes. Last episode went a bit long.
I talked too much about God Loves Man Kills.
So we're back. I'm producer James.
I'm Sasha.
And we're still talking about minutes 20 to 30 because there was just a little bit more we had to talk about.
So you get a bonus episode.
So here's a little bonus episode. When Mystique infiltrates the, what was it again? It's the worst name ever. The Department of some nonsense and some other thing.
Defense and Security.
Jeez, I'm crow.
It's something like
The Department of Domestic Security and Defense. That's what it's called. Horrible name. It doesn't roll off the tongue.
No.
She's on the computer. There is a list of mutant names, and there is a second screen full of folders with just nothing but names. So like not the code names of characters, but their real names.
Well, that's not going to stop us.
That's not going to stop
them.
Us. So I have found the list of all of the names they used, and obviously these are all supposed to be Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Because the only people on the list that have appeared up to X-Men 2 are, I'm going to use code names, not their real names, because nobody knows those. Pyro, Sabretooth, Iceman, Magneto, Artie, Artie Maddox is on there. Storm, Cyclops, Lady Deathstrike, Siren, and Shadowcat.
Okay.
Weirdly enough, though, Siren's name is Teresa Rourke, not Teresa Cassidy.
Interesting.
Yeah, weird, right? Teresa Rourke, I think, was used in like one of those weird offset joke universes in the Marvel comics,
so
and then it's also connected to the movie.
Interesting. Yeah, Earth 9047. She is Teresa Rourke.
Sure.
Cool.
So there's that. Those are the characters that have appeared at this point. So now, I went through and categorized into two more lists. The next one we have, so stop me if you want to talk about any of them, because some of them are only briefly appeared, and we can talk about them later. But these will appear at some point in the series. You've got Dazzler, Psylocke, Banshee, Black Tom Cassidy, Sunspot, The Blob, Cannonball, Silver Samurai, Gambit, Multiple Man, Mirage, Quicksilver, Cecilia Reyes, Nightcrawler, Mystique, Copycat, Deadpool, Agent Zero, Toad. Oh, I guess I should have put Toad on the other list. My bad. Magic, Beast. It just says Trask.
Okay.
So there's a Secretary Trask later, but there's, Bolivar Trask, and then Wolfsbane.
Okay.
So those all appear in later movies, and we probably will do highlights of all of them.
Yeah, the ones that I would want to talk about the most are the ones that have their own movie,
right?
Which is the New Mutants. That's Wolfsbane, Sunspot, Cannonball, etc.
And most of them are not Easter egg throwaway characters. All of them have time,
right?
Even Dazzler has like a moment to be like, this is Dazzler. It's not like Siren, where it's like, she has a shot and that's it.
Yeah.
Like these all will be talked about. More of what I'm here for is these ones. The ones that do not appear in any of the movies so far.
Okay.
All right. So stop me if there's anything you want to talk about.
Okay.
Speaking of New Mutants, Magma,
Nova Roma. So she's from South America, but she lives in a Roman colony that has not been moved through time. And she joins the New Mutants. That's all I'm going to say about Karma, unless there's something you want to add.
Nope. We got Skids.
Okay. Skids and Arties are bros. Let's just keep that in mind.
Feral
is kind of the evil Wolfsbane.
Lila Cheney.
Oh,
it's a shame.
Man. What?
I think we have talked about Lila Cheney on this, and I don't care if we have. She's an intergalactic rock star.
She's an icon.
She is an icon.
It's like Lila Cheney and Dazzler. But Lila Cheney is like intergalactic pop star.
Intergalactic Joan Jett.
Yeah. She's so great.
That's how I imagine her sound.
I think the tones of these movies are the reason that they don't have Lila Cheney, and that's why I don't like the tone.
Here's hoping for MCU X-Men throwing a Lila Cheney
I would die if she was in the new Deadpool Wolverine movie.
If anybody can pull it off, it's that.
Yeah.
Lorna Dane.
Polaris.
Yeah.
Love her. Yeah, I love Polaris.
She's important. She's in the Gifted TV show, though.
She is. That's fine.
That's fine.
Read X Factor, the 2019 run by Leah Williams.
Yes.
She's in that, and it's one of my favorite runs. I literally have a physical copy to give to people, so I can like a Bible where I'm like, hey, how about you read this? Get back to me.
Have you heard the good word of X Factor?
Yeah, right. X Factor investigation.
Right. Skin.
I don't know much about skin.
He's Generation X.
Yeah, that's on you.
He's also interesting in Age of Apocalypse.
Okay.
Yeah. Wild Child. Also Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah, Age of Apocalypse. Kind of a mix between Sabretooth and Wolverine, but little.
But little guy.
Yeah.
Husk, which we have talked about.
We've talked about Toad's girlfriend.
Cannonball's sister. One of his. He's got lots of siblings. Garrison Kane. Weapon X is what he's called, or just Kane. Proteus.
Yeah.
Moira McTaggart's son.
Yeah, and in the X-Men anime, Proteus is a major character. Like the whole little season is about Proteus. It's really interesting.
I have not. I'm gonna have to.
He has a Legion vibe.
Okay.
Proteus kind of always read to me as like early Legion. Like Proteus is basically Legion, but later. And that is, in the anime, it kind of implies that too, because he's Xavier's son, and it's like he's got super powerful abilities that can only like that he has a hard time controlling. It's really interesting.
Karma.
I don't have a ton about Karma.
I mean, also New Mutants.
New Mutant, yeah.
He loses a leg at one point.
Yeah.
I actually was reading that run and forgot that's when it happened. Because it's not like a huge thing.
No, it's weirdly
not. It just
not.
kind of happens. And then she has a robot leg for a long time. Crazy. Anyway. That's it. Scarlet Witch.
Well, the Scarlet,
There's plenty out there
you
for
know
her.
who the Scarlet Witch is.
Yeah. Sabra?
Oh, vaguely.
Yeah, right? I pulled it up and was like, I don't know who that is.
I know the name, and I'm like,
Sync.
Okay.
Like SYNCH, not SINK.
Yeah. Again, it's like one of those like...
He's more important in the Krakoan era.
Yes, exactly.
At the time of making this movie, there's no way they would use Sync.
Ever.
The M twins?
Oh, that is... oh my gosh, what's her name? The two girls that...
Nicole and Claudette St. Croix.
St. Croix. Yeah, so Monica St. Croix, they like two children on a trench coat. Pretending to be their sister. That is oh my God, I love that storyline. That whole storyline with their brother who's evil, and oh my God, it's crazy. I don't even know what run that is.
I don't even know where to start.
Just like look up the St. Croix twins and then like go to like first appearance, and because they're the first ones that show up, and then just read them on. I guess that would be like my recommendation if you're interested in...
They show up in Uncanny X-Men number 316 as Monet.
Yes.
And then as the twins in 1997's Generation X number 31.
Yeah. Okay.
So
they're Gen X. So I've read some of that stuff because it's so interesting.
Picture of posing as Monet is amazing.
Heartbreaking. They pose as Monet because Monet goes missing, and they think that she's dead because of their brother, and they think that their father would be more sad that if their sister went missing than if they went missing, so they pretend to be Monet. It is heartbreaking.
That is heartbreaking.
It's so sad, and like their story is so... I think it's really interesting.
I looked it up and was like, who?
Oh, you don't know the
I didn't know them. I did not know them.
I do know them. That's weird because you read a lot of Generation X, and they're kind of in there.
I've read a little bit of Generation X, I would say. Cypher.
Oh my God. Okay.
Another New Mutant.
Can we talk about Doug Ramsey?
Absolutely. His name pops up.
Doug Ramsey is...
We've talked about him before. He's the one that can understand all languages.
Yes. Major spoiler for the New Mutants, but Doug Ramsey dies in the original run of New Mutants, and he is dead for a really long time. Like a really, 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 really long time. More so than most people. Like there were things that I was like, they're never going to bring him back. Like he's best friends with Warlock, and he is this kid who can understand any language, and that includes like tech languages, and that also could include like that his power kind of expands to like Krakoa and like being able to understand. And he's like a super smart like tech kid. He kind of reminds me a lot of Amadeus Cho in a lot of ways, where he's like really smart and techie, and like, but in also like a personal way, because he has a lot of this like language communication between people that he can understand. He is not really a fighter, and that's how he dies in the New Mutants. And it's like this, it's like if the heart of the team died. It's like they basically like shatter. Magneto basically ditches the New Mutants after Doug Ramsey dies. That creates like the biggest break between Magneto and his students, is because he blames them, or at least when Wolfsbane asks Magneto, do you blame us for him dying? He doesn't answer, because the implication is yes. Oof. Because they didn't believe, like Magneto told them not to go, not to leave or whatever, and they go and they get Doug killed. And it's like, it's brutal. And it's not saying a lot about Doug, because it's kind of like the effect of other people that happens when he dies. Yeah. But he really is like kind of the heart and soul. Like, if you had to think of like a good guy, like a lot of the comics really want to make Cyclops that, but Cyclops kind of comes off as sanctimonious and kind of hard sometimes. Yeah. Doug Ramsey is actually, like, if you want like the pure hearted mutant soul, it's Doug Ramsey every time. So if you like that, that's who you should be reading. And he's not in any of these movies. It's honestly offensive.
If I recall, we'll probably talk about more when we hit New Mutants. They were supposed to do a trilogy, and the second one was going to be introducing Doug and Warlock.
I don't see him in that universe, that horror movie universe of the New Mutants.
Well, they'd have to change it a little bit.
They'd have to change it a lot bit.
Yeah. The Fenris twins.
I will spitefully decline to talk about the Fenris twins.
No thanks. Boom Boom.
Oh, okay. Boom Boom is bubblegum. Okay, think of Jubilee. But even more of a punk kid, blowing bubblegums, and her power is to create bombs and blow things up.
Time bombs, specifically.
Time bombs, exactly. And hence the name Boom Boom. She also
She's had
went
a bunch
by
of
Boomer,
names.
But it's a terrible name.
Boom Boom's the best.
Boom Boom is the best. And she is technically part of the New Mutants-ish, but I think technically at that point it becomes X-Force. So she is less under Magneto. She is not really ever like his student. She's actually a student of Cable. Okay. So that should set the tone, I think, of what Boom Boom is like. She is much more of the Cable school of education than an Xavier or Magneto school of education.
Which somebody who has time bombs, perfect.
Yes, exactly.
Mimic.
Yeah. I don't know. He's fine.
Yeah. Mr. Sinister.
Do you want to talk about Sinister?
Oh, man. I love Sinister. He is teased in New Mutants. He's teased in a post-credit sequence. He never actually shows up anywhere.
Yeah.
But he is he's been around for a while, and it's due to his research in genetics and his obsession with Scott Summers and Jean Grey, specifically, the two of them together.
Yes. Their progeny in particular.
Yes. He is just obsessed with genetics and obsessed with like creating the perfect mutants, and he does weird experiments and especially in the more common era, like the Krakoan era, he's a little more glam and like over the top and like theatrical. And that's the Sinister I love.
Yeah. Like when they first introduced him, he always gave me like Kiss vibes.
Okay.
Like that's how his original, his like 80s outfits to me, like that was what they were screaming. And they've kind of leaned into that. Also kind of a little bit of, I think glam is probably the best description of it. Yeah.
He's all about clones.
Yeah.
All about clones.
There's a lot of clones.
A lot of clones. Even sometimes he's a clone.
Sometimes he doesn't even know he's a clone.
It's amazing.
It's so
like
good.
I think there's one part, and I don't even know what book it is from the Krakoan era, where he gets shot in the head, and then whoever shot him was just another clone, or was him. I don't know, but it like takes his cape off of him and puts it on, and now he's the one you're talking to, not the other guy.
Yes,
it's like that's the vibe Mr. Sinister has right now, and I'm always here for it.
He's a great villain. He's just so weird.
But that's the thing, you got to do him weird.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he's just like anybody else.
No, he has to be weird. He has to have like kind of, he's never really teaming up. Even when he's teaming up with like other villains like Apocalypse, he's betraying them. He's betraying them. Yeah. Like there's no, that's going to happen.
Get ready for the betrayal.
You have to.
I mean, you might need, because the thing is, even Krakoa itself was built on his genetic research. That's how the resurrection protocols work.
Yeah.
And guess what? He betrays them. Because of course he does. And it's amazing.
Yeah. And that is, I think, the best part, because it was like everybody knew.
Yeah.
Everybody knew that was going to happen.
How.
Yes.
which is also the fun part. Next, we have Sunfire.
Sunfire is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have a lot to say about Sunfire. He
probably should have showed up in like the Wolverine or, some Japanese adventures.
Yeah, I think he does show up more. Sunfire is also like, he was also part of the Horsemen of the Apocalypse at one point too. Yeah. He doesn't really like the X-Men, which is why he's not in it very often. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you could have done it in a way. He's shows up in another thing, but there's also a lot of fire powers going around. So
I think they wanted to limit that for sure. Yeah.
What about Strong Guy?
Strong Guy is fine. Like, he's exactly what he sounds like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like Colossus could have just been Strong Guy.
Yeah.
Like the way they used him in these movies.
Also, like Beast before he turns blue.
Yeah.
Also he's a little bit more acrobatic than Strong Guy.
Oh,
but,
yeah, for sure.
That's basically it.
Your favorite, Sauron.
I don't want to cure cancer. I want to make people the dinosaurs. That's all you need to know about Sauron.
Hangs out in the Savage Land, and he's just a guy that turns into a pterodactyl.
And yeah, then he wants everybody else to be dinosaurs.
Yeah, he sucks mutant power energy is part of his deal. Yeah, and that's how he continues to be a pterodactyl.
Yeah, that he needs to siphon off mutant powers.
Siphon's a much better word than suck. Thank you. Omega Red.
I know about Omega Red, but I don't have like the heavy backstory. I don't have an affinity. Do you?
Once again, I've been reading a lot of more recent stuff, and they're doing good fun stuff with him. Like, he's working with X-Force.
Okay, that tracks. Like,
right?
Yeah, because he's like.
I mean, he's a Wolverine villain.
Yeah, I think this is why some of these I'm just like meh, because they're like Wolverine people, and I'm like,
he's like Whiplash.
Yes,
it's like nobody really cares about Whiplash, but he's there,
and people know
he exists, and people know who he is.
Right.
Grey Malkin. Yeah, I don't know much about him either. How about Jamie Braddock?
Oh my God, Captain Britain. Well, former Captain. Not Jamie Braddock.
No, Jamie Braddock.
Yes, Jamie Braddock. Excuse me.
Not Brian Braddock.
Not Brian. Jamie is the brother of Captain Britain.
The like kind of insane brother of.
Yeah.
He's another reality manipulator.
Yes, he kind of again has a Legion vibe to him. Where it's like he's not always totally in control of his powers, but he is generally a bad guy and villainous.
Generally,
because I think in some books he is clinically, legitimately schizophrenic, so that's like part of the character. But sometimes he does work with the X-Men. He was a race car driver. Like, you know what I mean? Like that kind of.
You only can use him if you're going into the Excalibur route.
100%.
And you're going into Captain Britain, and you're doing, Betsy Braddock as her British self, not as Quanon.
Right. Betsy Braddock in her regular body.
Get into that's a whole thing. Mm-hmm. We'll get into that later.
Don't want to deal with that
not yet.
Now. But yeah, I mean, sometimes he does help his brothers and he doesn't. Like, he's usually a villain, but not always. And he kind of reminds me a lot of like some of the Excalibur, like Saturnine and Morgana and all of these like other reality people I'm not going to get into. But like they have their own agendas. And like sometimes they can help the good guys, sometimes they help the bad guys, but effectively they're there for themselves. And Jamie used to be he crowned himself king for a while. Anyway.
Yeah. Forge. This is one that I'm not surprised they haven't used him, but very easily could have been thrown in one of these.
Forge, I think, is probably the biggest name on this list that people would know that isn't in the movies. His superpower is being able to make tech, basically.
Like make whatever he can think of.
It's a really strong power, if I'm going to be completely honest.
Like, he could have been like Q in James Bond. Like,
yes.
Oh, we need to go off on a thing, but we're going to need something. Go see Forge.
He's Native American. He's part of the Cheyenne tribe, and that's like a big part of his identity. He's also a war veteran too. So like, even though he's like an X-Men primarily, like he's been villainous because he's like worked for S.H.I.E.L.D.
He's made weapons against mutants for the government.
He made a weapon that made Storm lose her powers, and then they fell in love, and then she found out that he's the reason she doesn't have powers anymore.
That's the storyline we need right there.
I need to watch that. Like that's why I'm offended that he's not been in here. I need to see that. It's one of the most heartbreaking
Because she could lose her power in one movie, and then the next movie,
yeah,
they fall in love.
Yeah.
Find out.
I really like that series anyway. He like saves her, it's romantic and whatever, and then they find out that it was Forge's fault. And honestly, it's still really relevant to that character, because even in the Krakoan era, he talks about like when they ask him to make weapons or things like that, especially when X-Force is getting dodgy with Beast, he's like, you could tell he like makes references to like, I've done enough harm to mutants kind of thing. I've built things that I don't want to build, things that I can't control and things like that. And I think it's really, that storyline with Storm is really pivotal for that character.
Maybe that's why they haven't used him, because he's got to make something he regrets and then have like, that's his arc.
Yeah.
That they would need to use.
They would need to do that.
Franklin Richards.
Oh my God. Love Franklin Richards. Fantastic Four crossover.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the Fantastic Four's son.
Yes.
Yeah. Reed and Sue's son, Franklin.
One of the most powerful people in the Marvel cinematic, just the Marvel universe.
In the Marvel universe, we've talked about him briefly before.
Yeah.
I don't remember why, but he has come up.
There have been some weird shenanigans with him. He's mostly a kid. Even in Krakoan era, he's a teenager, so he's still really young. He is friends with Kitty Pryde, so there's like a real tightness. Like,
we may have been talking about Power Pack, because that's the other part that he gets.
Yeah, he gets sucked in with that, but he's also just like friends with Kitty Pryde. There's the X-Men versus the Fantastic Four. There's an old one, there's like a newer one around 2019, and those are both really good. That give you a really good introduction to Franklin Richards. He's also been strangely tied to Rachel Summers. There's a whole storyline where she's from the future, and there's like a version of him from the future that they are together. He ends up like dying and like setting the universe back, and it's this really sad thing for Rachel Summers, but like it's not the Franklin Richards of the 616. Yeah. So it's not exactly the same, but it's like it's close. His hair color is completely random. He started off being blonde.
Yeah, I was thinking blonde.
He's got black hair in the Krakoan era.
He does. You're right. Weird.
And he was really young, so I'm guessing like, oh, they're just like, he's baby blonde, like then his hair grew out.
Sure.
But he's like black hair.
Black. A different story, but sure. So
yeah.
So that is the end of the Mutants list.
Okay.
There's also like organizations and programs and like locations, and I don't want to go into them a ton. The Danger Room is mentioned though.
Okay, that's nice.
And the Massachusetts Academy.
Emma Frost.
That's all I'll go.
Surprised Emma Frost is not listed there.
No, she's not. She's not.
It's actually kind of surprising.
Yeah. Well, they weren't thinking about her.
No, I guess not.
They will later.
They will. They'll put her in the movie.
Twice.
Or they kind of do. Yeah.
Twice they'll put her in, and we'll talk about them in those movies. All right. Well, that's the list that I have that we apparently didn't have time in either episode to do. So you got this little bonus one.
Awesome. Thanks for hanging out with us.
All right. I'm producer James.
I'm Sasha.
And we'll see you for the next 10.